slammed the White House coronavirus task force in February, saying it's largely white men he appointed to their positions as directors of blah blah institute. They are indebted to serve him, not the people. That was an apparent reference to President Trump. Oh my God.
Make me a sandwich. Make me a fucking sandwich.
On Saturday, Corbett protected her tweets and prevented others from accessing them. Now, why would she do that? Oh, that's because they're blatantly racist. But Fox News archived the tweets on Friday. Thank God for Fox. You'd never hear any of this. Late Friday, a senior Health and Human Services official told Fox News HHS career ethics officials are reviewing the matter. Fox News is told the inquiry is being taken very seriously, making unprofessional social media posts about
Fox News is told the inquiry is being taken very seriously, making unprofessional social media posts about sensitive government work and violate federal ethical guidelines. Nothing's going to happen to her.
But does that not scare
no,
you?
because she's a fucking rarity. She's, you know, she's a brilliant woman. She has the resume for it. But does that not scare you? She's the lead researcher on this for a vaccine, and she's online blabbing how evil white people are. She actually said about merit, you know, merit means you hire whoever's the best for the job, meritocracy. She's saying that's like white thinking, and that's racist, that we should get rid of it. Think about that. Well, that explains Baltimore and Detroit and all the other cities run by people who just think the same way. On March 29th, Corbett tweeted out a Bloomberg article about how the poor are dying at higher rates from coronavirus. In her tweet, she said that doctors would deliberately choose to deny ventilators to Black Americans, leaving them to die instead.
Liar, whore, and you know it.
Where's the proof of that? Anybody gonna call her on it? Rachel Maddow, fucking Wolf Blitzer, Anderson Cooper Anderson, whatever your friggin' name is. Never get that one fucking straight. Anybody gonna call her on her bullshit? NBC? New York Times? She says, I tweet for the people who will die when doctors has to choose who gets the ventilator and ultimately who lives. The poor, and while the article doesn't explicitly say it, the black, that's who she's saying is gonna die. Someone replied to Corbett on April 9th, it's so scary to think about. I know when it comes down to it, people will be turned away or left to die because they are black. Corbett replied that same day, yep, both. Really?
Fuck you! Fuck you!
Another user declared, they hate us. This virus is a surefire way to get rid of us without having to lift a finger. Corbett replied, some have gone as far as to call it genocide. I plead the fifth. She's just a bigot and a fucking racist. If that was a white, imagine a white scientist saying shit like this. Just saying, yeah, fuck it, you know, we're going to take care of the rich first. On April 11th, Corbett implied black people are doomed. Adams, the Surgeon General, told the press conference last week that Black Americans suffer more from obesity, diabetes, and other ailments that increase the risk of death from coronavirus. Everybody knows that. After Adams recommended that Black Americans avoid cigarettes, alcohol, to project their health during the epidemic, Corbett retweeted another user's thread saying the suggestion was offensive because they had ignored systemic racism. That thread ended by saying, Dr. Fauci and Dr. Adams, check your privilege. Think critically. Stop spreading harmful fallacies that support white supremacy. If this broad has her job today, I don't want to hear about racism ever again in this country, ever. And in a Twitter argument last week, Corbett said that, listen to this, merit is defined by prejudices. It's just the opposite. Two people come in for a job and you hire the one that's more skilled. She's saying that's prejudice. See, if a black guy and a white guy going for a job and the white guy's more qualified, the black guy's more qualified, but you give the white guy the job, see, that would be prejudice. But if you go in and the white guy's more qualified, you give the black guy, that's affirmative action. So anyway, somebody pushed back on Twitter against her. Twitter argument last week, Corbett said that merit's defined by prejudices. Another user responded, so we can just dismiss anything white men are involved in because they're intrinsically malevolent? Corbett responds, white men are not to be dismissed, but the systems that they curated are.
I'm black, y'all, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm black.
Hey, sweetheart, the systems that they curated, you work in it. We lead the world in the medical profession. Oh my God. Fucking outrageous. On March 20th, she wrote, last year I took 17 trips weekend domestically. Now, this year I've canceled bucket list vacations. Netherlands, Spain, Jamaica, Greece. The reason millennials should be fighting for research funding for future pandemics. We deserve to be in D's streets. DESESTREETZ.
I'm black, y'all, and I'm black, y'all.
Unfucking believable. Double standard, triple fucking standard. Should be fired immediately. Never happened. Not in this country. Various other media outlets, including the New York Times and Fox News, have previously covered Corbett's role as the lead coronavirus researcher. Maybe that's why we haven't come up with a vaccine yet. She's too busy on Facebook saying how evil white people are. On April 16th, Senator stupid Kamala Harris, Democrat, California, praised Corbett on Twitter, saying she was leading the charge around the clock to develop a vaccine for coronavirus. She should have added that only helps brown and black people. Excuse me. The world owes you and your team a debt of gratitude. Oh, is that right, fucking Kamala?
You fucking hypocrite.
Ugh. Disgusting. Let's keep an eye. Let's follow up on that story. Well, I'm sure she'll be in deep shit real soon. Don't hold your breath. I'm gonna have some cocoa. Hold on. With some Zambuki in it, as Cat Williams called it, Zambuki.
Zambuki, I was drinking Zambuki with some white people. It's alcohol that tastes like coffee. It gets coffee in the motherfucker. I drank 10, I couldn't pass out. There's caffeine in the motherfucker.
That fucking guy makes me laugh, man. God, is he funny. NYPD busts large party in Brooklyn in a barbershop. Of course, they don't put that in the headlines. They save it for the second paragraph, you know. A black barbershop in Brooklyn had like 60 people in it. Oh, well, Dr. Corbett.
Yeah. I'm getting really close with my family and they with me because we have literally no choice. So, no, the only reason I called you is it sucked. I want to be making appliances, and my only question and the reason for calling you is whether it's 2 days from now or a month from now or 2 months from now. Well, I'll take the work out of it. Am I still valuable? Let's say everything was normal. Am I still a valuable employee? Okay, so that's all I'm concerned. That's all it was. Yeah, no, I'm here. That's all I called about. I just wanted to make sure that once shit get. I didn't call you to ask for answers on the shutdown because no one fucking knows what they keep moving. Yeah. Say it again. Sure. So whatever the politicians are, I've delayed collecting because I hate collecting, but I'm eligible, so I'm going to collect 2 weeks. And that has nothing to do with our company. That's the state. I just want to make sure because I've heard a lot of folks, and I'm not trying to get emotional or sound like a bitch, but they're saying many, many small companies might not survive this. And I go, well, what's a smaller company than mine? You know what I mean? Well, that's what they call that GPA, that government paid allocation, essentially, where you're allowed to not only keep open payroll, which is in my interest, but also will be able to, purchase supplies and things to keep everything running. And it's not just us; it's millions of businesses. You know that. And that's what a lot of people are complaining about. They're saying, well, why the fuck? And they're saying the Democrats are holding it up. Isn't that disgusting? So I'm fine. I have enough money, to live, and I get a car to drive. When you need this car back, you just call me. I give it right back to you. It's right here. Like less than a mile away from the lab. So whenever you need it, just give me a call. I don't care if it's at 9 a.m. or 11 p.m. Just call me, because it's not my vehicle. So with all that being said, yeah, no. How are you doing? Are your kids doing all right, or are they fucked up with this, or? So that's what we call a. Well, that's good. I know. I just don't want to be a waste, and there's also, I don't want to do with conflicts of interest. I'm free tomorrow. I'm free. I'm free. Is there anything I can commit? You know what? The one thing I really wanted to come in and do was shovel out that fucking 17-ton pile of models underneath the. Exactly. No. Yeah. There's no. and so yeah, everyone's, even the president, and you know how much I love the president. Even he says we're going to open things, and we're going to be seeing things that are going to be happening. We're going to be seeing things going to be happening. Well, that's not an answer, sir. You know what I mean? No one has a fucking answer. That's the whole thing. So I know. Or this might be the collapse that I've been yelling about for 10 years. So with all that being said, I just hope you're doing well. And if you need me for anything, just give me a call. I'm right down the street, and I'm here, and I have nothing to do. So well, I think Precise Dental Services, because you have such a reputation that I've seen your prescriptions at my former company NEO, and I've seen the work that you do and the criticism that you provide, which is valuable for my education. So anything that you need, just give me a call in the morning, and it's like, yo, Jason, maybe you can come in and you could do this, you could do that. I will happily come in, but I just need advance notice so I don't go do other stuff and then get a call. Does that make any sense? Okay. I know. Well, I've always. Well, it's everywhere. Well, I'm. Well, I'm not saying I'm going to do it tomorrow, but if you want me to do it tomorrow, I'll do it tomorrow. But I think one of the greatest things I could do, even though I'm on the state or whatever, or actually I'm not yet because I'm resisting until the last minute. But and everyone says, "Oh, because I just don't like." Well, for you, it's been 5 weeks. For me, it's been 2. Because I didn't know you and Mary did what you did 3 weeks before I learned about what was coming. Maybe I wasn't in. I have all the information. I have all the information right here. So all I'm saying is I can come in, and one of the great things to be done, even if it's an hour, is shovel out that fucking pile of models underneath the model pour area. You know what I'm talking about? I can go in and just clean that whole thing out. It's like it's physical labor. I'll do it for free. I don't care. It's going to help the laboratory. And, aside from that, anything else you need me to do. So let's just. All right, I'm going to go eat some chicken and try not to talk politics. All right. Likewise, don't get your dick too red, okay? All right. Peace out, homie. Thank you very much, sir. Have a good night. So you can go on.
It's gotta be trashy.
Yeah.
So I just,
Right.
I looked under the bed.
Right.
And I said, it's trash. I looked under the blanket and I said, it's trash. I didn't tell anybody.
I already have a bag in here. But thank you.
I want everything because tomorrow we'll just throw it out.
Well, what I usually do is I just take it in my car and throw it out of the work dumpster. So
No, just,
that's just what I do. You know. That's really, really fucked up.
buttery. Nobody lays a finger on my butterfinger.
Summer of 1995 was the hottest summer in years. The single of the season was sealed.
Right now, everybody is freaking out because of the collapse of oil prices, but no one really knows what it means, and I'm not entirely convinced this CNN article knows what it means either. That's enough to, I think, suffice to say, the economy is in serious trouble if oil prices have gone negative and people have to pay to get rid of the oil. What they're saying now over at CNN is that hundreds of U.S. oil companies could go bankrupt, and if they do, we are talking about major economic strife. Oh, man. I don't know what to expect, but if you watch my main segment over at youtube.com/TimCast, desperation, economic collapse, 22 million out of work around the banks, I have no idea. What I can say is that the whole segment I did was on something called Thucydides' trap, which says that when a rising power challenges the dominant power, war becomes inevitable. I'm not going to speak too much on that. You can go check it out if you want. But let's read what at least CNN is saying about what this negative oil price means. They report, the American oil industry is facing a doomsday scenario. The coronavirus pandemic has caused oil demand to drop so rapidly that the world is running out of room to store the barrels. At the same time, Russia and Saudi Arabia flooded the world with excess supply. That double black swan has caused oil prices to collapse to levels that make it impossible for U.S. shale oil companies to make money. U.S. crude for May delivery turned negative on Monday, something that has never happened since NYMEX oil futures began trading in 1983. It was easily the oil market's worst day on record. U.S. crude for June delivery is still trading above $20 a barrel, but even that's disastrous. $30 is already quite bad, but once you get to 20 or even 10, it's a complete nightmare, said Artem Abramov, head of the shale research at Rystad Energy. Many oil companies took on too much debt during the good.
Yung kilay natin dyan, paano na, kung saan na. Nagpawis ko ako. Yun na siya, guys. Yun na siya.
Hello, how are you everyone? Happy good day, my TV birthday. Welcome to my channel and I'm here again for guys,
Yun ang powder na pangkilay, guys. Hanap ko ng kulay.
That we will have that. So with that, I'd like to introduce Admiral Guar and Brad Smith to discuss some of the incredible things that have been done, and they really are what they've been able to do in a very, very short period of time with and equipment. You're going to see equipment that you haven't seen before. And if you just come up, Brad, if you guys would come up, you could give us a little display of some of the equipment that we have and some of the things that are happening having to do with testing, because testing is a big word. Remember, it was all ventilators. And the reason it was all ventilators, they said there's no way he'll ever be able to catch this one. And not only did we catch it, we are now the king of ventilators all over the world. We can send them anywhere, thousands being made a week. And they're very high quality. And that wasn't playing well. So then they said, testing. Oh, we'll get them on testing. Well, testing is much easier than ventilators. Ventilators are big machines that are very complex, that are very expensive. You need you need a group of people that really know what they're doing. We took auto lines, we took a lot of different people, and now we've done that. But it used to be ventilators. Now it's testing. And I think the Admiral, and I think that Brad will show you some things that you haven't seen that are really very spectacular, having to do with testing. We're way advanced. The list I showed if you're in the States, 5,000 different machines, 5,000, they're all over the country. And we have international also, but these are all over the country. But you'll see something now that's really eye-popping in terms of what they've done. And they've done this under great pressure. They've come up with things under great pressure that are absolutely amazing. So please, if you would. Thank you, folks.
Well, thank you, Mr. President. I want to talk about a couple things today, a little bit different than I've spoken about before. Since early March, we've really been focusing on two key concepts for testing. Number one, to assure and expand supplies in the U.S. market. This is really critical because we were talking about really a cottage industry with very minimal suppliers that we were asking to supply over a 2-week period of time the normal production that would be for at least a year. And as simple as a swab is not a swab is not a swab. And we need to be very careful that when we put something in a person and tell them a test result, that it's really correct. The second component is to secure sufficient supplies at FEMA during this time of peak disease, where we could alleviate any maldistributions within the state. This is the FEMA process of requesting and sending things out and also supporting outbreaks. So starting many weeks ago, starting in my office many weeks ago, we assembled a multidisciplinary team of really incredible people. The medical side of the equation, which I represent, the laboratory side of the equation, high-tech side of the equation, logistics and operation. And Brad Smith his day job is director of the Center for Medicare and Medicaid Services, an incredibly important component of our country's CMS system, building the future healthcare system, that has done a really incredible job operationally and logistically in bringing everyone together. We have focused on every piece of the supply chain that relates to testing, down to the most minute detail, and he's going to talk to you about some of that. But that started in the second week of March with starting an airlift, because the only supplier, the main supplier of swabs at that time, was a place in Italy that was completely shut off because of the outbreak in Italy. So Admiral Plubchek arranged Greytail Air Force planes to go to Italy to bring millions of swabs back to secure. That's just how it started, and it's expanded since then. The second part is we've been really marrying, and this has been the beauty, the logistics and supplies to the overall strategy. Two pieces of strategy. Number one, what is the overall testing strategy? And Dr. Birx has had just an elegant strategy in the past, but even more important in the future, when we make sure we take care of indigent populations and those most vulnerable. So the clinical, the contact tracing, and the monitoring of those who are at most risk. We've also married it to the strategy, and you've heard more than you wanted to know about it, that a small machine that's point of care is good for certain things, but it's not going to test 5,000 people over a short period of time. So the small machines, the medium machines, and the large machines, and how to contextualize them. And the third thing, before I give it to Brad, which is very important, and it's really critical, is coordinating the research, the epidemiology, and the FDA regulatory process. And why is that so important? When we started 5 weeks ago, if we wanted to test this many people with the technology we had, we would have used about 80% of the strategic national stockpile in PPE just to do testing. We needed an innovation. That innovation was to be able to test out of the anterior nose with a completely different kind of swab. It sounds very mundane, but if you don't do that, you can't get the testing to scale. That allowed us to really go to widespread testing. Last week, moving to polyester swabs, which is going to open up millions of new swabs onto the market. But that's a regulatory science and innovation step that had to co-occur with this. And with that, I'm going to let Brad talk about some of the details that he has really shepherded over the past weeks in ways that have truly been amazing and incredibly impressive to me.
Well, thank you, Mr. President. It's an honor of a lifetime to be here and serving in this way. I've been working under Dr. Birx's and Admiral Gerard's leadership over the past several weeks to help increase the supply of testing across the United States. As you all know, there's really three parts that you need to make the test work. First, you need the machine, which is Dr. Birx will share more, and the President spoke to. We have a very, very large number of those across the United States. It's about making sure that we're taking advantage of them. The second part of the testing is making sure that we have the collection supplies to actually be able to collect the specimen, and I'll talk a little bit more about that. And then the third part is making sure that you have the materials you need to support the machine to ensure that you can actually process the test once it gets to the lab. I'll let Dr. Burks talk more about the machines here in a second, but as you'll see, across the United States, we have a tremendous number. They range in variety. So we have some very small machines that do point of care testing. They may do, say, 50 to 100 tests a day. We also have other very large machines that can do several thousand, process several thousand tests a day. On the collection supply piece, I'll talk through a couple different kinds of collection that can be done. So for the nucleic acid test, which are the tests that are currently being done today, you generally need a swab of the nodes. To do that, you need the swab, you need the collection tube, and you also need the transport media.
To fly a rocket ship, you need to be an optimist. No astronaut launches for space with their fingers crossed. That's not how we deal with risk. What I learned from 21 years as an astronaut.
A few minutes, this will be the terrestrial storm of the day. It's going to track from in near Independence, north of Independence, over to just north of Parsons. A tornado as we get east of Parsons toward the Missouri border. It's 2:20 now. By 4 to 5 o'clock, we should have tornadoes on the ground with a softball-sized hail up here somewhere, or grapefruit, 5 to 6 inch diameter hail. It's going to be a major day.
Is this Joplin?
Yes.
So it's behind this wall of rain.
Yes. 150 miles an hour shear on the west side of Joplin. And that's where the tornado's at. It's on the gosh, take it, Kathy. Okay, why y'all be right west of you? It's a high shear zone. It's right here. Good Joplin. Fall right here, south of me. Got a big fall right here. There's your coffee. Hey guys, the tornado's trying to come down right here. The winds are on the north, and it's coming back around. The tornado's right here. It's coming on the ground right here. Hey, get the sirens going. Get the sirens going. I'm telling you. There it is. It's on the ground.
I see it. I see it.
Going right.
I got it.
Going right.
Power flashes.
Go. Take it. I got it. Just stay with it, Kevin. Go right down toward it.
Oh crap!
I know.
Why are you doing that?
Guys, we don't have on the roads. There's tornadoes, some maxi waves on the ground. Man, this is a Jeff Trusty storm chaser. I have a large destructive tornado and on the southwest side of Joplin. Notified. Large tornado on the ground doing massive damage. F5. It's an F5 going through the city. Film it. F5 got me. Oh my God. Still, it's winter now. Feel the bottom of the tornado. Feel the bottom of the tornado.
Be quiet. Don't get us in it.
I'm not. Go past this guy. We're gonna find. Wait. I'm not gonna get in it. There it is. Stay with it. Stay with it.
Don't get us in it.
I'm not. We're gonna find.
Yep.